My child, listen carefully, because what I am about to reveal is not something meant for everyone. This message was placed in your path at the exact moment your spirit became ready for it. You may think you just tapped the screen by accident or opened this at a random time, but nothing about this moment is accidental. The timing, the pull you felt, the sudden urge you couldn't explain, everything is connected to what you are about to hear. There is a woman, someone who knows you, someone who has walked near your life long enough to learn your habits, your routines, your ways of thinking. She is not a stranger, not an outsider, not a distant voice fading in a crowd. She is someone who once stood close enough to call herself trustworthy, close enough for you to never doubt her intentions, close enough for you to believe that she would never harm you. But my child, darkness does not always come wearing a mask. Sometimes it smiles. Sometimes it pretends to care. Sometimes it hides behind gentle words and familiar faces. Right now, this woman is sitting somewhere alone, clutching a report that has completely shattered her world. Her fingers are trembling so violently she can barely keep the pages still. Her breath is unsteady, uneven, breaking in her chest like fragile glass. She reads the words again and again, hoping the letters will change, hoping the diagnosis will rearrange itself into something less terrifying, less final. But the paper refuses to lie. The truth remains in black and white, cold and unforgiving. Her body is failing, my child. Not because nature chose this path. Not because her time just happened to arrive. Not because of something genetic or unavoidable. No. Her body is collapsing under the weight of a seed she planted with her own hands, hands that once reached toward your downfall. She is in the advanced stage of a condition that did not appear overnight. It did not grow in a month. It has been forming inside her for exactly the amount of time since. She tried to harm you. She didn't expect it. She never imagined that the very trap she crafted would become the cage she now sits inside. She never thought the energy she pushed toward you would cycle back around and cling to her like a shadow she can't outrun. 3 years, my child. 3 long years. That's how long this silent destruction has been growing inside her. Every moment she walked around thinking she succeeded, something inside her was quietly shifting, forming, developing into the very thing she is facing today. But before you ask who she is or what she did, you must understand the weight of her intentions. She didn't act out of a moment of anger. She didn't make a mistake in the heat of a temporary emotion. Her actions were planned. Calculated. Quietly designed like a puzzle only she understood the pieces to. The envy she held toward you was not mild, it was deep, hidden behind carefully crafted smiles. While she complimented you in public, she judged you in her heart. While she acted supportive, she secretly hoped you would lose everything you were building. Every blessing you received felt like a thorn she couldn't ignore. And as your life shifted upward, her bitterness grew downward, rooting itself deeper into her spirit. Instead of healing her jealousy, she fed it. Instead of letting go of the resentment, she nurtured it. She began observing you, not with admiration, but with the intention to find an opening. She studied the way you moved through your day. She noticed the scents you wore, the routines you followed, the things you touched the most. She memorized the smallest habits, thinking she was simply paying attention, not realizing that heaven was recording every thought, every intention, every secret plan forming behind her eyes. Her deception wasn't loud. It wasn't messy. It wasn't reckless. It was quiet, my child, too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes darkness look innocent. She believed that subtle plans were safer. That silent schemes left no trace. That hidden steps guaranteed success. But nothing is hidden from divine sight. What she prepared for you was not something small. It wasn't a rumor. It wasn't gossip. It wasn't a lie she spread to tear your reputation down. No, her plan was crafted with the goal of ending something in your life. She thought she found the perfect method. A method where the cause couldn't be traced. A method where no one could accuse her. A method where you would slowly break while she watched from a distance, pretending to be shocked, pretending to wonder what was happening to you. She didn't realize that every thought she whispered in the dark was echoing in the realm she could not see. She didn't know that each step she took was being counted, each intention weighed, each action recorded. Heaven watched her make the decision. Heaven watched her choose the path of destruction. Heaven watched her prepare something deadly, believing she had the upper hand. And then, my child, the turning point came. She carried out her plan. She executed the moment she thought was perfect. She believed this would be the day she finally gained control, the day she would see you weaken while she pretended to feel sympathy. She thought she was clever. She thought she was unstoppable. She thought she was smarter than the consequences that follow wicked actions. But my child, what she created for you never touched you. Not because of her mistakes, but because of divine interference that she never knew was surrounding you. You were under protection long before her plan even began to form. What she purchased, what she prepared, what she tried to transfer into your life, it all reversed the moment she tried to carry it out. She didn't feel the shift. She didn't sense the danger. She didn't see the way the very thing she intended for you clung to her instead. Tiny particles she never noticed. A mistake so small she didn't even realize it happened. A touch she thought was harmless. A moment she dismissed as nothing. But it was everything. That brief instant sealed her fate. And for 3 years, what she meant for your destruction has been tearing her apart from the inside, inch by inch, cell by cell, quietly taking over until the day came when it could no longer hide. That day is today. She is losing strength faster than she can accept. The weight of her actions has finally returned to her doorstep. And now, as she holds that report, the truth is crashing over her like a wave she cannot swim through. Her eyes are swollen from crying. Her chest tightens with guilt she never expected to feel. For the first time, she understands what she did. For the first time, the darkness she played with has shown its true face. You may wonder why she is suffering now. You may wonder why this moment is unfolding. You may wonder what it means for you. My child, her suffering is not for your entertainment. It is a sign. A warning. A revelation. And most importantly, it is a reminder of how protected you truly are. Everything she crafted was blocked. Everything she built was dismantled. Everything she wished upon you was intercepted before it could even reach your shadow. You were never in danger. Not for a moment. Not even for a second. Your life is guarded in ways you cannot see, protected in ways you cannot imagine, surrounded by forces you don't always feel but are always present. My child, we continue. Take a breath, because what comes next will open your eyes in a way you've never experienced before. The truth is not gentle. It doesn't whisper. It arrives like a sudden wind, and once it touches you, nothing remains the same. That is what is about to happen now. This woman, the one clutching her report, the one whose tears cannot be stopped, the one who is slowly realizing the weight of her own choices, she wasn't always this way. There was a time when her heart still had softness in it, a time when she admired you, when she looked up to you, when she saw something in your spirit that she wished existed in herself. But admiration turned into comparison, comparison turned into envy, envy turned into resentment, and resentment grew into something darker, something that no human eye could see, yet heaven saw clearly. She never told anyone how she felt. She wore kindness like a mask so convincing that even you believed it. She laughed with you, spoke gently, acted supportive, pretended to care, all while a storm was forming inside her. She didn't want your downfall at first, she wanted your life. She wanted your favor. She wanted your peace. She wanted your strength. She wanted the grace that rested on your shoulders. She wanted the doors that opened for you without you forcing them. She watched you receive blessings that confused her, because she couldn't understand why someone like you, someone she underestimated, someone she thought was ordinary, would walk in the kind of protection and destiny most people never touch. And that's where it started. Not with hatred, not with anger, but with desire. She wanted what belonged to you, and the moment desire twisted into entitlement, she crossed a line her soul wasn't prepared to pay for. You see, my child, the people who envy you the most are never the ones far away. It's always the ones close enough to see the details of your life. The ones who watch the way blessings seem to follow you. The ones who notice how doors open without you forcing anything. The ones who see how you get back up every time life tries to knock you down. Outsiders may hear about your blessings, but insiders witness them. And the closer someone stands to your life, the easier it becomes for jealousy to take root if their heart is not clean. This woman stood close, much closer than she should have. She watched you closely. She studied you not to learn from you, but to see where your vulnerabilities were. She noticed your routines, not out of curiosity, but out of calculation. She learned your patterns, not to support you, but to use them against you. She knew the details of your mornings, the way you prepared your things, the little items you loved, the habits you never changed. She took all this information and twisted it into a weapon. But before she made her final choice, something very specific pushed her over the edge. Something happened 3 years ago, an event she never moved past, even though she acted like she did. It was a moment where you rose unexpectedly. A moment where your name was spoken in a room she thought belonged to her. A blessing came to you that she believed she deserved. You received a breakthrough she thought should have been hers. And instead of celebrating, instead of clapping, instead of letting gratitude shape her heart, jealousy swallowed her whole. She felt humiliated that life honored you before her. She felt invisible the moment you were recognized. She felt small the moment you were lifted. She felt the sting of comparison, and instead of healing, she let the bitterness grow until it covered everything she felt toward you. And so the plan began. Not overnight. Not suddenly. Slowly. Like a seed planted in the shadow of her thoughts, watered by insecurity and anger, growing roots deeper than she realized. She told herself lies to justify it. She convinced herself that you didn't deserve what you had. She whispered in her own mind that you were lucky, not chosen. She said things like, if they knew the real them, they wouldn't treat them this way. She built entire stories in her head to make her actions feel justified. But darkness never stays small once you feed it. She made her decision on a day when she felt particularly overlooked. She felt threatened by your existence. She felt overshadowed by your light. And she decided she would dim it herself. She wanted to control the timing of your downfall. She wanted it to look natural. She wanted it to look like life slowly drained you, not like someone planned it. So she did something that changed everything. She obtained something harmful, something that should never have touched human skin. She believed it was the perfect weapon, silent, invisible, impossible to detect. She didn't want a loud destruction, she wanted a quiet one. The kind that happens gradually, the kind that confuses doctors, the kind that no one would suspect. And in her arrogance, she performed the one act that sealed her fate. She tried to introduce that substance into something personal of yours, something you use daily, something you held close to your body without thinking twice. She believed this would be her victory. She believed she had outsmarted divine protection. She believed heaven wasn't watching. But my child, protection surrounds you like a wall. A wall she could never break through. A wall she didn't even know existed. A wall built long before she planned anything. The moment she tried to carry out her plan, the spiritual realm moved. A shield you didn't even know was around you activated without a sound. And in that exact moment, while she was preparing to harm you, a tiny fraction of what she handled slipped onto her own skin. She didn't notice. She didn't feel it. She wiped her hands like it was nothing. She never imagined that a mistake so small would echo into the future so loudly. That single moment became the beginning of her own unraveling. At first, she felt normal. Weeks went by. Months passed. She walked around thinking she had succeeded, thinking she had gotten away with something unforgivable. But unseen to her, the consequence had already rooted itself inside her body. It moved quietly, growing slowly, marking each year with a new stage until it reached the point she is at today. And now, 3 years later, she is facing what she never expected, her life slipping away, not because of fate, not because of bad luck, but because of her own hands. That is why she is shaking right now. That is why she looks like someone buried under the weight of her own choices. That is why her heart is filled with a fear she cannot name. Because deep down, she knows. She knows the truth, even if she hasn't spoken it. She knows this is not random. She knows this is not natural. She knows this is the shadow of her own actions returning to her. And you, my child, you were protected from all of it. Every part. Every attempt. Every intention. Every plan. Nothing she formed ever touched you. Nothing she designed ever reached you. Nothing she prepared ever entered your life. You were surrounded by a shield she could not break. But now that you know her condition, you must understand something deeper, what this means for you. Because heaven never reveals something like this without a purpose. You are about to step into a season where the truth about many people will be uncovered. You will begin to see why certain relationships failed, why certain doors closed, why certain people suddenly distanced themselves, why your spirit felt uneasy around certain places without knowing why. What was once hidden is coming to light, not to scare you, but to free you. But this is not the end of the revelation. The next part, my child, will reveal something even heavier, what heaven is preparing for you next. Why this attack could not touch you. And what kind of blessing is about to be released into your life now that justice has been completed. My child, prepare yourself now, because from this moment forward, the message shifts from what happened to her, to what heaven is getting ready to release to you. When darkness is exposed, blessings begin to move. When lies unravel, truth takes its rightful place. When hidden attacks fail, divine elevation follows. That is the pattern of the spiritual realm, and that is exactly what is unfolding around you right now. You may not have realized it, but for the last 3 years something invisible has been following you, something that fought relentlessly to stop you from rising. It wasn't just the woman who tried to harm you, her action opened a shadow over your path, a cloud formed by her intention, her jealousy, her bitterness. Even though the weapon she crafted couldn't touch your body, her hatred tried to cling to your atmosphere. You felt it in strange ways, days where you had no energy, nights where you cried without knowing why, moments where heaviness sat on your chest for no reason, times where everything felt delayed, blocked, resisted. But what you didn't understand then, you will understand now, the battles you fought in silence were never random. They were symptoms of the spiritual pressure trying to reach you. Yet even then, my child, you were covered. Even when you didn't feel safe, you were safe. Even when you felt alone, you weren't. Even when life pushed you to your knees, heaven stood behind you like an army that cannot be defeated. And now, since the truth of this woman's story has reached its final point, the pressure that has been around your life is lifting. The shadows are disappearing. The blockages are weakening. The fog that has surrounded your path is dissolving. You are entering a moment of clarity, one you have long needed but didn't know how to ask for. But I must show you something important, my child. Something you have overlooked. Something connected to why her attack never succeeded. Something connected to why you survived battles that should have broken you. For years you believed you were still standing because you were strong. But the truth is deeper. You survived because you were chosen. You survived because your destiny is tied to a purpose much larger than the people who tried to break you. You survived because heaven assigned angels to your life long before you even asked. There are battles you never saw. There are dangers you never faced. There are attempts from the enemy you never even felt because they were stopped before they could reach your atmosphere. Do you remember the nights where you couldn't sleep, when you felt someone watching you, when you felt a pressure in the room but couldn't identify the source? Those were spiritual confrontations happening just beyond your physical perception. You were not imagining it. Something was trying to find its way to you, but something stronger was standing between you and that attack. Do you remember the mornings where you woke up suddenly, as if someone called your name, but no one was there? That wasn't fear. That wasn't coincidence. That was a divine presence checking on you, covering you, pulling you back from spiritual harm that tried to slip into your dreams. Do you remember the moments you felt like life was suffocating you, when you had no reason to feel sad yet tears flowed anyway? That wasn't weakness, it was your spirit reacting to a pressure around you. But every time the enemy tried to move, heaven moved faster. Every time someone plotted, heaven blocked. Every time the darkness whispered, heaven spoke louder. Every time poison tried to reach you, protection intercepted it. Every time someone thought they had found your weakness, heaven turned it into your strength. This woman believed she built the perfect plan, but she never understood who she was fighting against. She thought she was fighting you. But in reality, she collided with divine protection. And that is why the attack turned upon her. Not because heaven hates her, but because heaven defends its own. Now, my child, you must hear what comes next. Because the shift is not only happening around her life. It's happening around your destiny. As soon as justice completes its course, blessings begin moving. This is not punishment, it is alignment. When something dark is removed from your path, the road opens for what belongs to you. When someone who intended harm is exposed, new people who carry love and goodness start entering your circle. When deception breaks, clarity arrives. And right now, the clarity you're stepping into is not small, it's life-changing. Over the next weeks, you will start seeing things differently. The people you once trusted will no longer feel the same. The activities you used to tolerate will no longer match your spirit. The places you once visited will feel uncomfortable. This is not confusion, this is spiritual realignment. You are being lifted out of the environments that cannot go with you into your new season. You will also feel a sudden burst of energy. You may wake up one morning feeling lighter than you have in years. You may notice your mind becoming clearer, your thoughts sharper, your emotions calmer. The pressure that once drained you will fade. The heaviness that sat on your shoulders for so long without explanation will begin to disappear. That is what happens when spiritual warfare ends. That is what happens when a long-standing attack finally breaks. That is what happens when heaven declares that the season of resistance is over. But my child, there is something even greater coming. A revelation not about the woman, but about you. Because while she decays under the weight of her actions, you are rising under the weight of your calling. Your spirit has endured storms it never deserved. Your heart has been wounded by people who weren't supposed to betray you. Your journey has been filled with setback after setback, delay after delay, disappointment after disappointment, not because you were cursed, but because destiny required a deeper preparation than others around you. You are not walking an ordinary path. That is why your battles have been uncommon. And now, because the weight of her plan has finally been removed, your blessings will not simply return, they will multiply. The spiritual delay that held things back is gone. The dark cloud that followed you is gone. The hidden interference that slowed your progress is gone. And now, watch closely, because heaven is shifting the timing of your life. Things that were stuck will begin to move. Things that were blocked will open. Things that were delayed will accelerate. Things that were denied will suddenly appear. Where she wanted destruction, God will bring restoration. Where she wanted suffering, God will bring elevation. Where she wanted your downfall, God will bring your breakthrough. My child, you must understand this clearly. Every time someone tries to harm a chosen one, heaven responds with double favor. Every attack that fails becomes a testimony. Every dark plan that collapses becomes a stepping stone. Every weapon formed against you becomes evidence of your calling. My child, this is the part where everything shifts, not just in the story, not just in your understanding, but in your entire spiritual atmosphere. This final section reveals the reason all of this happened, the meaning behind your battles, and the blessing that is now moving toward your life with unstoppable force. Listen with your spirit, not your ears. Because this part is not just information, it is a divine announcement over your destiny. Even after everything that woman tried to do, even after the shadows she sent your way, even after the spiritual weight you carried unknowingly, you must understand something extremely important: you were never the target. Your calling was. The enemy never fights ordinary people with this level of intensity. He never invests this much energy into someone who has nothing significant to offer. He never attacks a person who carries no threat to his plans. Your battles were not proof of your weakness, they were proof of your purpose. That woman did not act alone. Her jealousy was the doorway, but the darkness behind her intention was aimed at stopping the future God wrote for you long before your birth. The enemy saw a glimpse of what you were destined to become, and he used her as a tool, not because of who she was, but because of who you are. You have always been marked. You have always been chosen. You have always been protected, even when you didn't know it. And that is why her plan failed before it even began. But now that her wrongdoing has reached its end, heaven is beginning a new chapter in your story. For months, no, for years, you have felt like your life was stuck between two worlds. One moment things looked like they were going to improve, and the next moment everything collapsed again. You prayed, but your prayers seemed delayed. You tried, but your efforts were blocked. You believed, yet you still felt resistance around every corner. This resistance wasn't because you were wrong or weak. It was because a spiritual interference surrounded you, a shadow formed from her intentions, her envy, her choices. Now that her plan has been exposed and reversed, the interference is dissolving. That is why, in the coming days, you will feel something shifting, subtly at first, then unmistakably. The heaviness that sat on your chest will lift. The strange fatigue that came for no reason will disappear. The anxiety that visited you suddenly will lose its hold. The lack of motivation that kept you still will fade. The cycle of delay will break. And the feeling of being spiritually watched or burdened will be replaced with a sense of freedom unlike anything you've felt in years. My child, heaven is releasing you from a spiritual storm you didn't even know you were in. There is a reason your life recently felt heavy. There is a reason you kept losing people. There is a reason certain connections suddenly broke. There is a reason old things ended painfully. You thought you were losing. You thought you were being punished. You thought things were falling apart for no reason. You were wrong. Nothing was falling apart, everything was being rearranged. God removed certain people to protect you. He closed certain doors to redirect you. He ended certain seasons because the next chapter requires a different version of you. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every sudden ending, they were not random. They were divine protection disguised as loss. And now that the final truth has been revealed, the season of loss is over. The season of restoration is beginning. But restoration is not the only thing coming. There is something bigger, something you don't even see yet. Your life is about to experience divine compensation. Everything that was delayed is coming quicker than you expect. Everything that was withheld is being released in multiplied form. Every blessing that was blocked is being unlocked all at once. Every prayer that seemed unanswered is moving into manifestation. You survived spiritual warfare that should have broken you. You walked through fire that should have consumed you. You endured storms that were never meant to be seen by human eyes. And because you endured, you will now be rewarded openly. My child, listen with your heart. What was meant to destroy you will now become the reason you rise. What was meant to confuse you will now become a testimony of clarity. What was meant to break you will now elevate you. And the same woman who planned your downfall, her actions have become the very reason heaven is shifting you into your blessing. Darkness has returned to her, but blessings will return to you. Her actions carried consequences, but your endurance carries promotions. In the coming weeks, watch for 3 signs, because each one will confirm that your new season has begun. 1. A sudden peace that makes no sense. You will wake up one day feeling lighter. Your mind will be quiet. Your spirit will feel calm. It will feel unnatural at first because you grew used to carrying invisible weight. But this peace is heaven telling you that the warfare surrounding you has ended. 2. A door will open effortlessly. Something you struggled to achieve will suddenly fall into place. A prayer you prayed long ago, something you almost gave up on, will rise again, this time with no resistance. 3. Someone new will enter your life. A person with a clean heart, good intentions, and divine assignment will appear. This person will play a role in your next season. The arrival will be unexpected, but your spirit will recognize them immediately. These signs are not coincidences, they are confirmations that heaven is moving you forward. My child, you will no longer walk with your head down. Your past will not follow you into your future. Your losses will not define the next chapter of your life. What tried to break you has failed. What tried to stop you has been removed. What was meant to destroy you has become powerless. And now comes the part you must hear clearly. You are stepping into a season where God Himself is handling things for you. You don't have to fight every battle. You don't have to chase every answer. You don't have to stress about every problem. You don't have to carry every burden. He is working while you rest. He is fighting while you sleep. He is arranging while you wait. He is preparing while you trust. Heaven has not forgotten you. Your tears were not wasted. Your pain was not ignored. Your suffering was not invisible. Your endurance has not gone unnoticed. You survived what was designed to end you, and now you will thrive in ways you never imagined. My child, open your heart to this truth: your life is about to rise. Your spirit is about to strengthen. Your peace is about to deepen. Your blessings are about to multiply. Your purpose is about to unfold. Your name is about to be lifted. Your story is about to change. The season of darkness has ended. The season of breakthrough has begun. And so I speak this over you: you are protected. You are chosen. You are rising. You are being restored. You are stepping into abundance. You are covered by divine grace that no enemy can touch.